You've heard it before. Global warming is the biggest threat to humanity. But what if the narrative we're fed is just a fraction of the truth? It's time to peel back the layers and examine the complexities of climate change. The headlines scream urgency, climate code red, and UN sounds final alarm. But who decides what we see and hear? The media plays a crucial role in shaping our understanding, often focusing on sensational stories that grab attention. Yet this can lead to a one-dimensional view of a multifaceted issue. Let's consider the science. Yes, the planet is warming and human activity is a significant contributor. But climate change is not just about rising temperatures. It's about the intricate web of ecosystems, economies, and communities that are all interconnected. When we talk about climate change, we must also discuss adaptation, resilience, and the solutions that are already being implemented around the world. What about the voices that often go unheard? Indigenous communities, for example, have been stewards of the land for centuries. Their knowledge and practices offer invaluable insights into sustainable living and climate resilience, yet they are frequently sidelined in mainstream discussions. And then there's the economic aspect. Transitioning to renewable energy is essential, but it's not just about replacing fossil fuels. It's about creating jobs, investing in technology, and ensuring that the shift is equitable. How do we balance the urgency of action with the need for a just transition? We also need to question the narratives pushed by powerful interests. Corporations and governments often have their own agendas, which can skew the information we receive. Are we being told the full story, or are we being led to believe that drastic measures are our only option? Critical thinking is essential. We must ask tough questions. What data is being presented and who is interpreting it? Are we being encouraged to think for ourselves, or are we simply consuming information that reinforces existing beliefs? This isn't about denial. It's about understanding the broader picture. Climate change is a complex issue that requires nuanced discussions. It's about recognizing the interplay between environmental, social, and economic factors. So as we navigate this critical moment in history, let's commit to looking beyond the headlines. Let's engage in conversations that challenge the status quo and explore innovative solutions. The future of our planet depends on it. Global warming is a pressing issue that affects us all. It's primarily caused by human activities, especially the burning of fossil fuels. When we burn coal, oil, and gas, we release greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide and methane into the atmosphere. These gases act like a blanket, trapping heat and causing our planet's temperature to rise. As a result, we're witnessing melting ice caps, rising sea levels, and extreme weather patterns. If we don't take action, we risk flooding coastal cities and losing vital ecosystems. The time to act is now. We often hear about carbon dioxide as the villain in climate change narratives, but is it really the whole story? Let's dive deeper into the science. While CO2 is a significant greenhouse gas, it's not the only player in this complex game. Take methane for instance. It's 25 times more potent than CO2 over 100 years. That means, pound for pound, methane traps way more heat in our atmosphere. Yet it often gets overshadowed in discussions about climate change. Now, let's not forget about water vapor. It's the most abundant greenhouse gas, yet it rarely gets the spotlight. Water vapor accounts for about 60% of the greenhouse effect. Its role is crucial because it amplifies the effects of other greenhouse gases. When CO2 levels rise, they lead to higher temperatures, which in turn increase water vapor in the atmosphere. This creates a feedback loop that can intensify warming. But the climate system is not just about greenhouse gases. It's a complex web of interactions influenced by natural cycles. For example, solar radiation plays a significant role in our climate. The sun goes through cycles of activity, with periods of increased sunspots correlating with warmer temperatures on Earth. These natural variations can have profound impacts on our climate, sometimes overshadowing human influence. Then there's the ocean. Ocean currents, like those associated with El Niño and La Niña, can dramatically affect global weather patterns. During an El Niño event, warmer ocean temperatures can lead to increased rainfall in some regions and droughts in others. These cycles can shift climate patterns for years, showing that our climate is influenced by more than just greenhouse gas emissions. Some scientists argue that while human activity is a factor, we must consider these natural cycles to fully understand climate dynamics. They suggest that focusing solely on CO2 might oversimplify the issue. It's essential to look at the bigger picture, where multiple factors interact in ways we are still trying to comprehend. In discussions about climate change, it's vital to engage with diverse perspectives. There are scientists who emphasize the complexity of the climate system, advocating for a broader view that includes natural variability alongside human impact. This doesn't mean we ignore the role of greenhouse gases, but rather that we acknowledge the intricate dance of factors that influence our climate. So as we navigate the conversation around climate change, let's remember that it's not just about blaming CO2. It's about understanding a multifaceted system where methane, water vapor, solar cycles, and ocean currents all play critical roles. The science is complex, and oversimplifying it could lead us to overlook important solutions and strategies for addressing climate change effectively. Climate change isn't just an environmental issue, it's a multi-trillion-dollar industry. Carbon taxes and credits are reshaping the economy, creating a gold rush for oil giants and renewable energy firms alike. While we fight for a sustainable future, some are cashing in on our fears. Just look at the booming carbon market, projected to reach unimaginable heights. Politicians shake hands at climate summits, but who really benefits? Meanwhile, protesters demand climate justice, highlighting the stark contrast between profit and planet. In this crisis, the question remains, who truly profits from the panic? Media thrives on fear. Every wildfire, flood, or heatwave is branded a climate disaster. And while these events are undeniably serious, the narrative often spirals into alarmism. We see news anchors, faces tense with urgency, reporting on the latest catastrophe. The headlines scream at us. 12 years left and irreversible damage. It's no wonder that climate anxiety is on the rise, especially among young people. But what does this fear-based messaging really achieve? Are we becoming more informed, or are we just more afraid? Studies show that young people are increasingly anxious about the future, feeling overwhelmed by the weight of climate change. This anxiety can lead to a sense of helplessness, making it harder to engage with the complex science behind these issues. Fear simplifies the narrative, reducing intricate systems of climate science to a single terrifying message. It's easy to understand why fear grabs attention, but in doing so, it often overlooks the nuances. Climate change is not just a series of disasters, it's a complex interplay of human activity, natural processes, and socio-economic factors. Take a moment to consider the visuals we consume. Young people protesting, some in tears, holding signs that reflect their desperation. Their passion is palpable, but are they being equipped with the tools to understand the science behind their fears, or are they left to grapple with an oversimplified narrative that leaves them feeling powerless? The charts showing mental health stats linked to climate fear tell a troubling story. Anxiety can manifest in various ways: depression, hopelessness, even apathy. When we focus solely on fear, we risk alienating those who want to take action but feel paralyzed by the enormity of the problem. What if we shifted the narrative? Instead of just highlighting disasters, we could also spotlight solutions. Innovations in renewable energy, community resilience, and grassroots movements can inspire hope. Young people are not just passive recipients of fear. They are capable of driving change. By fostering a more balanced dialogue, one that acknowledges the challenges while also celebrating progress, we can empower the next generation. It's about equipping them with knowledge, fostering resilience, and encouraging action. Fear can be a powerful motivator, but it should not be the only tool in our toolbox. Let's strive for a narrative that informs, inspires, and ultimately leads to a more engaged and proactive society. Because when we understand the complexities of climate change, we can transform anxiety into action and fear into hope. Nuclear power is one of the cleanest energy sources we have, yet fear keeps it on the sidelines. Imagine a world where modern nuclear plants provide us with low-emission energy, helping to combat climate change. Then there's carbon capture technology capable of pulling CO2 right from the air, but it's barely utilized. We also need to confront uncomfortable truths about overconsumption and population growth, which drive our environmental crisis. These overlooked solutions and challenges are essential to truly understanding global warming and finding effective paths forward. The climate narrative we hear today is often shaped by powerful organizations like the United Nations and major media outlets. They curate the information we receive, presenting a version of reality that can sometimes feel more like a script than a scientific discussion. But what happens to those who dare to challenge this narrative? Dissenting scientists frequently find themselves sidelined, labeled as deniers. Rather than being engaged in meaningful debate, science thrives on discourse, on the clash of ideas. It's through this process that we refine our understanding of complex issues. Yet when dissent is dismissed, we risk losing valuable insights. Take a moment to consider the wealth of scientific literature that exists beyond the headlines. A single headline can simplify a complex study into a catchy phrase, but the full paper often reveals nuances that are critical for informed discussion. For instance, while mainstream reports might focus on catastrophic predictions, many scientists emphasize the importance of adaptation and resilience. They argue that we need to consider a broader range of solutions, including technological innovations and local community strategies. Yet these voices often go unheard in the rush to deliver a sensational story. Let's not forget the experts who are willing to speak out on less covered topics. They highlight issues like the role of natural climate variability, the importance of energy access in developing nations, and the potential benefits of nuclear energy. These perspectives are crucial, yet they often struggle to find a platform in a media landscape dominated by alarmist narratives. Debates on climate change should be robust and inclusive. Instead, we often see a polarized environment where only certain viewpoints are amplified. This creates an echo chamber, stifling the very essence of scientific inquiry. Imagine a climate debate where diverse opinions are presented, where real scientists engage with one another rather than talking past each other. We need to challenge the status quo. It's essential to foster an environment where all voices can contribute to the conversation. The climate crisis is too important to be reduced to a single narrative. By embracing a multitude of perspectives, we can develop more comprehensive solutions that address the complexities of our changing planet. In the end, it's about accountability. Who controls the climate narrative? It's time we demand transparency and inclusivity in the discussions that shape our future. Let's push for a climate dialogue that values evidence over ideology, that welcomes debate rather than censorship. Only then can we truly understand the challenges we face and work together towards effective solutions. Every day we're bombarded with messages about how our individual actions can save the planet. We're told to recycle, reduce our plastic use, and switch to energy-efficient light bulbs. But let's take a step back and really think about this. Are we focusing our blame in the right places? Look at the plastic waste littering our beaches. It's a heartbreaking sight, but the reality is that a significant portion of this waste comes from large corporations that produce single-use plastics. Yes, we can all do our part, but when a handful of companies are responsible for the majority of plastic production, it raises the question, should we be pointing fingers at individuals or at the corporations that create these products? Now let's talk about emissions. We often see charts showing household emissions like those from our light bulbs or cars. But when you compare those numbers to the emissions from factories and oil companies, the scale is staggering. A single oil company can emit more greenhouse gases than entire countries, yet we're often led to believe that our small actions are the primary problem. This brings us to the origins of the term carbon footprint. It was popularized by a campaign from an oil company in the early 2000s. The idea was to shift the focus from corporate responsibility to individual behavior. By making us feel guilty about our personal choices, they cleverly deflected attention from their own massive contributions to climate change. It's a classic case of misdirection. When we talk about solutions, we need to consider systemic change. Yes, we can all reduce our energy consumption and make greener choices, but real progress will come from holding corporations accountable. A single oil company can emit more greenhouse gases than entire countries, yet we're often led to believe that our small actions are the primary problem. This brings us to the origins of the term carbon footprint. It was popularized by a campaign from an oil company in the early 2000s. The idea was to shift the focus from corporate responsibility to individual behavior. By making us feel guilty about our personal choices, they cleverly deflected attention from their own massive contributions to climate change. It's a classic case of misdirection. When we talk about solutions, we need to consider systemic change. Yes, we can all reduce our energy consumption and make greener choices, but real progress will come from holding corporations accountable. Yet so often we find ourselves caught up in virtue signaling, posting about issues without taking meaningful action. It's time to shift our mindset and embrace the solutions that are right in front of us. Take reforestation, for example. Drones are now being used to plant trees at an astonishing rate. These flying marvels can cover vast areas, dropping seeds in places that are hard to reach. Restoring forests not only absorbs carbon dioxide but also revitalizes ecosystems, providing habitats for countless species. Imagine the impact if we scaled this up globally. Then there's nuclear energy. It's often misunderstood, but it's one of the cleanest energy sources we have. With advancements in technology, modern nuclear plants are safer and more efficient than ever. By switching to nuclear, we can drastically reduce our reliance on fossil fuels and lower our carbon footprint. It's a powerful solution that deserves our attention. Agricultural systems also need a revolution. Traditional farming methods are resource-intensive and often harmful to the environment, but innovations like aquaponics are changing the game. This method combines fish farming with plant cultivation, creating a sustainable ecosystem that uses significantly less water and space. Imagine urban farms thriving in our cities, providing fresh produce while minimizing transportation emissions. Speaking of cities, we have the opportunity to build carbon-neutral urban environments. Sustainable urban planning can transform how we live. Picture cities designed for pedestrians and cyclists, with green spaces integrated into every neighborhood. Clean transportation options like electric trains, shared EVs, and bicycles can reduce congestion and pollution, making our cities healthier for everyone. And let's not forget about food innovation. Lab-grown meat is not just a trend, it's a viable solution to reduce the environmental impact of livestock farming. By producing meat in a lab, we can cut down on land use, water consumption, and greenhouse gas emissions. It's a game changer for our food systems. We have the solutions, the challenge lies in our willingness to explore them. It takes courage to embrace change, to invest in these technologies, and to advocate for sustainable practices. But if we can shift our focus from virtue signaling to real action, we can create a future that is not only sustainable but thriving. Let's harness our creativity and innovation. Let's restore our forests, embrace clean energy, revolutionize agriculture, and design cities that prioritize sustainability. The time for action is now, and the solutions are within our reach. Together, we can build a better world for generations to come. Global warming is real, and it's a challenge we can't ignore. But alongside this reality, we face another pressing issue: misinformation. The narrative around climate change is often oversimplified, leading to confusion and fear. The truth is complex, and it's essential to approach it with a critical mind. When we hear alarming statistics or dire predictions, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. But instead of succumbing to panic, we should strive for understanding. We need to sift through the noise and seek out credible sources of information. It's not just about what we hear, it's about how we interpret it. Let's take a moment to reflect on the power of our actions. Each of us has a role to play in this fight against climate change. Whether it's planting trees, cleaning up our beaches, or innovating new solutions, every small effort counts. These actions not only contribute to healing our planet but also inspire others to join in. Education is another crucial piece of the puzzle. The next generation deserves more than just panic. They deserve the full truth. We must equip them with the knowledge and tools to tackle these challenges head-on. Imagine students studying climate solutions, building prototypes, and coming up with creative ways to reduce our carbon footprint. This is the future we need to cultivate. As we look at our planet from space, we can see the signs of healing. It's a reminder that while the challenges are significant, they are not insurmountable. Nature has an incredible capacity to recover if we give it a chance. So, what will you do with the information you have? Will you choose to act wisely and think critically? Let's move away from fear and shame and embrace smart, informed action. Together, we can create a sustainable future for ourselves and for generations to come. The journey starts with us. Let's make it count.